Dog's barking. Should I move? Do you hear her?
Well, we're going now. We're going now. In true art fight podcast fashion. The coldest open.
We were talking about we opened so cold.
We
I didn't realize you started.
We open so cold. You do not put us in the microwave before we start these.
No. We become scared of the fucking freezer.
Oh, I didn't get the wither, the vampires, whatever. I'm falling apart. It's been a year. It hasn't been a year. It's only been half a year.
It hasn't. Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't our last one in like December?
Yeah, we did do. What did we talk about? Didn't we talk about like mini games? That was funny.
I remember.
I don't remember either.
I remember that like episode was really hectic, and we just talked about anything.
Oh yeah, remember we also did a live one that was funny.
Oh my god, did we? That is really funny.
I never uploaded that.
Stop!
It was so long. It was so long.
You need to upload that.
No, because remember there was the one part we had to cut out, and I was like, I'll do it, and then I never did it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
All right, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Yeah. You go first.
Okay.
I'm scared.
I'm Damie. I'm my art fight username is also Damie. I go by Damie or Damien, he, him pronouns, and I'm a proud vampire this year.
I didn't expect that voice.
It's my tuber voice.
It's lovely. My name is Clem. I'm Clemidity on the artfight site. Viver pronouns preferred. She, her is fine. And I'm I'm a proud werewolf. Grr.
Blah blah blah.
We're not on the same team this year.
I know. What are we even gonna do? We're gonna have to fight each other. It's gonna have to be a fight podcast. Truly.
Yeah, it's finally a fight podcast.
We're gonna beat each other up.
Oh my god, that's kind of beautiful in a way.
Yeah, and
Love
then we
wins.
like kiss afterward and we hold hands and it's a big like art fight. It's a message.
It's a message.
The symbolism.
It's really impactful.
We see it and it fixes all the server errors because everybody's in sync now, in unison.
Everyone knows exactly when to log on so the site doesn't crash.
No way. It's crazy.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
It's like a migration of geese, like the way that they so elegantly like line up in a formation. That's us going to the artfight website.
Wow. It's like traffic. If everybody pressed the pedal at the same time, there would be no traffic.
I know. That sounds a little concerning, actually.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would be a little too scary.
Yeah, what if you have a slower car? Or are they just so in sync
They're
that like
so in
people
sync
know
that
when
every
your
car is the
slower?
same. Every car is the same.
Oh my god.
We don't
That's
even
like-
have the wither. Fuck, not the wither. The vampires and werewolves. It's a wither in my mind. It starts with a W.
You already pointed out that we don't have the magic.
No, we don't have. They're not like released. I was gonna go get them so I could chroma key them.
Oh
but
yeah,
they're
aren't
not
released.
out.
Oh.
Anyway.
I don't know why I thought you were just like saying again that we didn't have them.
No,
Yeah, I know.
No, I just we don't. They don't exist yet. Actually, maybe
Oh
I can.
shit!
I don't know.
If you're watching this picture in your mind, what
Yeah.
a werewolf looks like,
Just
what
like-
a vampire looks like.
Like right above our heads. That's where they would go.
Yeah. Well, okay, it's kind of accurate because mine is like a full-on cat.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
I'm like
kinda
a human.
werewolf. Yeah, and yours
It's
is like a
perfect.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly how to. Okay, great first segue. How do we feel
Open
about how
really-
everyone thinks this theme is gonna be furries v humans?
I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm so glad. Because I think that is so... Okay, I don't want to be mean to people who, like, have been making that joke.
Yeah.
It was funny for a bit.
For 2 messages in Gen Chat.
Yeah, and now it's, like, the joke, you know?
Yeah,
And it's like, look, I get it. Every year, art fight, there's, like, a team stereotype, you know? It's so common. Like Bloom v Wither, that was another good team, edgy team. So we know what was coming. You know,
Yes.
we know. like it was like the cottagecore and then like the village,
yes.
you know.
Yes.
So I get it. There's always gonna be a bit to hang on to.
Yes.
But I don't understand why. And maybe it's because I'm Team Werewolf and I'm like not a furry. I don't have any furry.
You're not a furry. You actually hate
No.
animals. You hate all animals.
No, guys, wait.
No, that's false. I'm gaslighting you.
I know. But I don't really understand the joke. I guess I understand it, I guess. Because it's like, okay, yeah, werewolves, that's an anther dog in some ways. But I don't think people understand how fucking sick the concept of werewolves is.
Yes.
And I think that it surpasses furry and goes into a whole new level of monster loving, you know? It's just a cool monster.
Yeah, I think
I like vampires too, but I think werewolves are silly.
I think we're forgetting.
I like doggies, so
yeah, you can like doggies. I think that we're forgetting that vampires are also furries because they can turn into bats.
Wait, that's true. Oh my god,
it's literally the same thing.
People who've been saying furry and humans, we need to like say this. We need to. Yeah. I don't know if they know.
Well, so the other thing that
do they know, chat?
The other thing that like I feel like. And we could segue this to, like, a larger topic of this, but I feel like a lot of people, at least in the Discord server, because, like, we usually talk about the Discord server, you know?
Yeah.
Our fight itself is, like, you can play this game, and you can have a great time, like, by yourself, and just, like, never interact with the community. And, like, you'll have a great time. But...
I was like that for most of my years.
I was like that for part of my art fight career. Now we're both. I'm a 6th year. You're also 6th year.
I'm also 6th year.
Yeah.
And I'm also not that active in the community, I will say. Damie's a lot more active.
I am a lot more.
Damie will just like tell me something that's happening, and then I like look over and like, dang, that's crazy, and then I look away.
I am a little bit chronically online.
You're always talking about that you touch grass.
I do. I touch grass during the year, but during this month, I become.
During art fight.
It's my vampire form. My art fight lurker.
You're going into the cave. Yeah.
You will probably see me in Gen 1 if you go into Gen 1 saying, role playing about making someone an art fight burger.
Making someone an art fight. Was that a thing that you did?
I did do that, and then everybody clowned on me. No one likes role play in Gen 1. Anyway, that's a different topic. But
that is a really different topic.
But I was gonna say, I feel like there are like a lot more new people this year. I will say, one of the things.
For sure.
And
I
think that
a lot of those little leaves.
Yeah, there's a lot of leaves, like more so than last year. And I thought last year was a lot of new people. It's like it's like a whole tree in there, like. But I think that, like, some people will be like, oh no, like, what if this one thing is happening? And, like, it kind of just spreads throughout because there's not a lot of regulars who go like, oh, by the way, you know, like, people who don't join early bird, like, get sorted randomly. And usually they don't know that they can change teams. So, like, that balances teams. Or, like, sometimes people will choose teams because they want to draw the other kind. So, like, there'll be furries on werewolf, on vampire, because they want to draw furries, like, who are on werewolf, like, stuff like that. And it's like, also, some people draw both. Guys, a lot of people draw both.
A lot of people draw both.
And I think just because, like, there are so many first years this year, like, the information is a lot harder to, like, I guess, it like, spreads a lot farther than it normally would have, because a lot of, like, the older, like, either the veterans or just the people who have played before were like, oh, guys, by the way, like, it's fine. Like, this happens every year. People get worried, like, oh, I'm on Cyberpunk. What if I don't like any of the steampunk characters? It's like, no, people don't choose teams because of, like, what they have all the time. Sometimes they just choose them because they like the color better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I honestly forgot, like, that side of it, like, the misinformation or just, like, the worry of, like, the perceived, I guess, like, general aesthetic of the other team just based off of the team and not, like, just remembering that people just pick teams sometimes.
I mean, I don't know. I have so much to say about specifically art fight, like the server, but I know that, like, you're not as active, like, in it, so. It's
I'll
so
get
hard.
like more active for like a week so that you can talk about it to me.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I think it is actually very, very, very interesting this year, I will say.
The server?
Yes. It's like I'm not in there a lot of the times because I'm trying to like usually I would go in like the gen chats because I like finding new people who I might like be friends with, and that's why I would be in Gen 1 because everybody's like, "Oh, Gen 1's so fast." Like, you know, but the new people almost always go to Gen 1 before they go to Gen 2. So, you know, most of the off-seasoners like stay in Gen 2. And then a lot of the newer people talk in Gen 1.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. You like hunting out the little new people.
Yeah. But like
seeking them out.
This year I'm not so much looking for like people that I can like be friends with, but I'm just like kind of looking because it's fascinating. Like there's
you're like observing them like an ant farm?
Yes, I'm well, like a little scientist, like a little data scientist, you know?
Oh.
Like one thing that I think is very, very, very interesting about this year is the like very large portion of the people who seem to have not read any of Artfight's rules at all.
Are you? I feel like this is okay. I'm not very active in the server, but when the theme reveal dropped, I did look at the chat. I'm just giving this context because I know that Damie knows that I did that, but I looked in the chat after the theme reveal. I will say, I have not watched the theme reveal.
Wait, you haven't watched it at all?
Haven't.
What?
No.
Come on, we need to do a live. We need to do a live reaction.
That would be kind of funny. But I hadn't watched it. I was instead in a call with people who did watch it, and I heard what team it was through them. And then I looked over at the Artfight Gen 1. Sorry, someone yelled up for me. This is a really hectic podcast.
No, the flow is so much better than our other one, gonna be honest.
Actually, you're kind of right. But anyway, so I had looked at Gen 1 and I had already seen people mentioning that they already had art ready to submit to the site.
Yeah.
Which I think is what Jamie was talking about.
There's so much of that.
I have like only love in my heart because if it's like new people, obviously, and
It's
the
all
people
new
I were
people.
seeing were doing that were just new people.
Yeah.
I don't feel like anyone who does that and has played for more than a year
Oh,
would like openly
God,
admit that they
no.
did that.
God, no.
And I don't think they mean anything malicious by it, but I do think that's true that they just like don't look that far into Artfight's rules and they don't know how it works necessarily.
So,
which is not like a bad thing. I just think, you know,
I think
they need to be informed.
Yeah, I think the main thing that is wild to me is like, you know, because a lot of people used to ask about like what time does Artfight start? Because before Discord or before the mods started using the like relative time like blocks everywhere so that you could see your relative time, it was like what is 1 p.m. Like, okay, UTC, like that's, you know, so what is that in my time? Like, so people would ask that. I understand that. There are some people who just like who just like don't know that you're not supposed to start drawing before it, even though like on the website, when you go to the website, there's a giant message that says don't draw before it starts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's definitely I'm interested to see what happens, I guess, and also I feel very bad for the mods because I assume there's going to be a massive influx of people submitting attacks like that are drawn before the fight.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's honestly like wild to me, like just how many people, because it is like right on the front of the website now because the fight is approaching.
I will also say though that like as a person who looks at the website like a fair amount, just like trying to like add new people's links and like, you know, manage stuff, it's actually not that large of a thing. I kind of wish they made the banner like that thing that says like note Artfight doesn't start. I wish they just made it like the gradient, like right over the gradient in giant
honestly,
text.
It is like not that
kind of small.
I just opened it right now. It's like right underneath the welcome to Artfight. It's in this little tiny box
It also,
the text
like,
is just as big as like any
yeah.
standard text,
And
which
like,
is like kind of,
and like, it's also like the only thing that's bold is the all. So it's like this is a violation of fairness for all players. It's like, why is the all bolded? So maybe like, because if I was reading this, I'd be like, okay, note. Maybe I don't need to read that. You know, it's like just a note.
It's just a note. It
It's
should be
a note.
over the gradient banner.
It should be
remember
like
you
in
mentioned
red
this.
text.
Gradient banner is so big for no reason off season. On season, I understand because there's actually art there.
No, but it's so
off-season,
big.
It's really big. It's just a big gradient.
It's huge. It takes up like
really.
It takes up like 50 almost like a third of the site. Oh my god, it makes me so mad.
It is. It's quite large.
It's so
I will
big.
say.
It's like so big.
Just a little smaller, you know.
What are you
Like
what are you
for
predicting?
off-season.
What are you predicting for site downtime this year?
Ooh, like long.
Yeah.
Definitely, like all first day for sure. That's always.
Ooh, yeah.
That's like almost always until like 3 a.m. I feel like
Yes,
is when,
yeah.
like then it like will settle, and then in the morning again it'll probably spike around noon because it
Yeah.
always does that on the second day too. I always have the worst time on the second day around
Really?
noon to 3 p.m.
Oh yes, yeah. Actually, you're so real for that.
Like an EST time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be for other people.
Australians
and then I
are
feel
chilling.
like it'll go spotty, and if it does stay like further offline for like the rest of the evening on the second day, I will be surprised.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's been okay lately-ish. Like last
So-
year, it was like it was okay for art
I am
racers.
much more terminally online than you, so I might have a better informed.
That's actually true.
I'm gonna come out the gate with maybe a little bit of a hot take. I think it's possible that the site is down long enough and frequently enough throughout the entire fight that we'll get an
Oh.
extension.
Oh,
Like a 2-day extension.
why? Like, why do you think this?
Because it's already... So the Discord actually went down
I saw that actually
earlier.
today.
But I think that was because of a Discord update, so I don't think that was the
I was
art
gonna
fight.
say,
But
I've seen servers go down just because of Discord things.
But, like, I mean, the art fight server has... I don't know if you've been trying to, like, use it at all, but it's been, like, bad, and normally it's not this bad before the fight. Like, this is what I expect, like, first week of art fight to be like. But, like,
yeah.
Okay, and also, secondarily, the coding team, very small.
I've heard.
Very small. And with Rainey stepping down, I think that probably in general the team has their hands full with a lot of different things, and like I think the only reason the site has been better in the recent years is because the coders were able to really like focus on like expanding like how many users could use it. But I think that they haven't been able to do that as much this year, if I had to guess. So
Okay.
that's my take.
That-
I could be totally wrong.
is
We'll have to see at the end.
I mean, I can see it and I can understand that. I feel like
Yeah.
like that makes sense to me. Mine was just based off of like last year's, and then
Last
like,
year was pretty
with
good.
It was pretty good. Mine was based off of last year's and the ideal that it would go fine. But you're right, there are a lot of new people, and
There are so many new people.
it does seem like Artfight has had their hands full, especially with Rainey stepping down. I feel like that would probably be a big chunk of stuff to have to like fill in the workload.
I think Rainey stepping down is so interesting. Like,
I don't know much about it. I'll be real.
well, I mean, not like just Rainey stepping down like as like a person, but I'm just saying like it leaves me very, very interested to see what direction Artfight will take.
That's true.
Because I
I really wonder.
think it could be like the start of a new era for better or worse.
I hope it's for better.
I hope it's for better too.
But I guess we will have to see.
I mean, I think it'll be like a multi-year, like,
Oh, for sure.
thing.
I mean,
but
Artfight's always just like develops the years it's like
yeah,
happening. I feel
yeah,
like.
it's It's such an
Nothing
interesting
years,
little
but months.
microbiome.
It really is. It's like you make a terrarium for 1 month, and then it still exists, but you give it a lot of attention in 1 month, you know?
Yeah.
And it develops a lot faster in that exact 1 month.
I know.
It does
And
in
like,
the rest of the months.
yeah, especially with like, I think the TikTok has been like, just like the art fight side of TikTok, if you would, if you call it that, has like been getting people to like want to participate more, and it's been like adding a bunch of new users.
That's true. I remember we were talking about that last year. Like TikTok was bringing an influx of new users, but that probably still has an effect now. I mean, I've actually like seen. I don't use TikTok, but I
don't
see
either.
on Instagram Reels, which is like the same thing. Honestly, it probably arguably worse. Not as bad as YouTube Shorts. If anyone is out there and is gonna shame me.
Oh my god, YouTube Shorts.
If anyone's about to shame me for using Instagram Reels, please remember that YouTube Shorts is real and it exists, and I don't use that. But I do see like Instagram Reels of like people preparing for art fight, and that's so weird to me, because I remember when I started playing, that was like not. I never saw people like talking about art fight. I guess
there was
like,
one
art fight spaces.
Yeah, there was one Tumblr post that was like explaining what art fight was, and that was the only thing I ever saw on socials about art fight.
That's so funny. That's crazy.
And now it's like so many people. It's like there's what? There's like
how far it's come.
There's like 120,000 users in the Discord.
Ooh, that's scary.
That's insane.
That is insane. Oh, that's so weird.
Poor mods. Is all I could think.
Oh, the chat mods. I always feel so bad.
Yeah. I wish. I'm surprised they haven't expanded mod team a lot more.
Me too. I don't know why they haven't. I mean, I guess like it's not my business to know, but I am surprised.
It's just one of those things where you're like, huh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it's
it.
like huh. All right. Okay, I guess. You do you. Smile.
Okay, so what do you think of this year's theme? Are you a Vamps Be Werewolves enjoyer?
I am an enjoyer.
I'm also an enjoyer. I'm not gonna like.
I really like it.
It's great.
I did not vote for Vampires and Werewolves. I will say.
I didn't either.
Okay, good. I know
good. Good.
I didn't vote for it. I will say I voted not because I thought it was gonna win. I don't honestly think it was gonna win. Arctic v Tropic.
Oh yes, you are the Arctic v Tropic enjoyer, which is so based.
I'm the truther.
I'm a heart v soul truther.
I respect you for it.
all me and 3 other people.
It's a niche, but I respect it.
It's not as niche, okay? The team poll came out and it was on there. There was a slice of that pie chart.
I know, it was pretty good up there. Even the 3 other people really pulled through.
We had a lot of bots. That's a joke. There are more than 3 people.
But I did have the hunch that it wasn't really gonna win. I just wanted to be the truth of it, you know?
Yeah,
but
so real.
I will say my best friend Yuchi, this was the theme that she really wanted.
Oh yeah.
And I was really hoping for it just because I didn't think Arctic v Tropic was gonna win, but I really thought Vampires and Werewolves had like a really good fighting chance. Because so many people love that theme. Like they talk about it. I feel like I saw a lot of people talking about it. Aside from also here. I will say, most of the time I saw people talking about themes, it was talking bad on some certain themes.
Yeah, so many people were haters. Okay, I will say, I'm a very avid Heroes v Villain hater. I think this is well known. But also,
it's so well known.
But also, like, if it won, I wouldn't be like, I'm not playing art fight. Like, I'm gonna be like...
about that I wouldn't, but I still would play art
Yeah, I would play art fight. I would just, like, not care about the theme.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you know what, guys? I think the real knowledge that nobody understands is that if a theme wins in a year, that theme will never happen again.
Is that
So
what you're hoping?
You'll never...
I remember you said that about, like, because you were scared that Heroes and Villains was going to win last year, and you were like, well, if it wins, we'll never have
It's never gonna happen again. I think, like, more people need to really have that positive mindset. The positive hater.
It's a pretty good positive mindset.
Like, yes, let's have this win so it doesn't have to happen.
Funny.
I have seen people, I did see people in chat saying, like, alright, it's Vamps v Werewolves, not gonna play Artfight this year. I'm like, who are you?
Straight up not gonna play?
Like,
That's
what?
Crazy. Especially because, like, people, like, rep so hard for Artfight. Like, I can't imagine just, like, not playing.
Yeah, like, I don't...
Specifically just the theme. And because, to me, that makes it feel like, maybe kind of cruel to say it in these words. But then it's like, where's the spirit of Artfight?
So real.
You know?
So real.
Because it's not about the theme, buddy. It's about the spirit of Artfight.
It's about giving. It's about giving.
It's like Christmas.
It's like Christmas and you're Santa and you have all the gifts.
Exactly.
Sometimes people don't leave out cookies and milk, but some people will. So Santa doesn't do it for the cookies, he gives it for the giving.
Exactly. That's actually really beautiful, Damie.
That's so lovely. It's actually a pretty good Artfight metaphor.
It's a good Artfight metaphor.
Because I feel like...
Oh.
I was gonna say, like...
No.
Because, okay, there are Spirit of Artfight rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, some of them are somewhat, like... It's kind of hard to define, because, like, the thing is, like, oh, you always want to give, right? Like, you're playing it to give, not to get. But, like...
Yeah.
That also doesn't mean, like, you have to revenge every attack, which some people think it means. Or, like, that doesn't mean that, like, you have to do 100 attacks. It's like, no. Just, like, play to give and give what you can.
Exactly. I agree, like, wholeheartedly. I feel like some people... I really respect when some people want to revenge everyone. I understand. I think for some people... that is really sweet, and if it works for you and that makes you happy, then that's wonderful. But I also feel like it should be acknowledged that if it doesn't work for you and if it doesn't make you happy, don't do it.
Oh yeah.
Because I used to do it when I was a faster artist, I will say, and it worked for me. But as over the years, I've just become a slower artist. And
real.
Well, yeah, it just happens sometimes. You just become a slower artist, and
you care more.
I still appreciate everything I get. I'll still make sure to, like, comment on stuff, tell people that I like it, and I still, like, adore the pieces I get. But I think this is also good to, like, apply to, like, people not revenging you if you're the type of person that gets upset about that. Because I know I used to be the type of person that would get upset if I didn't get revenge. Because I was like, you know, I think sometimes people go through that phase, you know? You're like, why? Why didn't they?
Especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, because that was when I was, like, starting out, I will say. But it's like, people can love things that you give them without having to give back. And you can love things that people give you without having to give back to that specific person.
Like,
it's just...
I will print out, like, attacks and, like, put them on my wall and, like, look at them, like, all the time.
That's really so sweet.
And, like, one of those is, like, one that I didn't revenge, but I left, like, a novel of a comment on.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just should be like, at the end of the day, it's art. Like, art should be made because you were inspired to create it. I feel like you really you were driven to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's best to, if you, like, really can't muster yourself to do it, like, you're struggling with revenges, but you still have people you want to attack, but you feel like you need to do the revenges, just
do the attacks.
Let the people know that you want to revenge. Yeah, do the attacks. Let the people you want to, like, you would theoretically want to revenge, but you just can't. Just tell them how much you like the piece.
Yeah.
And let yourself move on. I feel like those people would just be happier to know that you're going to go have fun.
Oh yeah, so real. Like, I was gonna say, we're like the Artfight grandpas who's like, oh yeah, go take a penny and, like, buy yourself a candy bar. Don't do your revenges. Go have fun.
We are like the Artfight grandpas.
Here's a Werther's original. I think this kind of segues also into a nice thing. So hit lists have gotten insanely popular.
Oh yeah.
Like,
They really have.
you may not have seen it, but like basically like every new person is like thinking they have to make a hit list now. It like
Oh, really?
a lot of people's like include it as like part of art fight prep stuff. So like what's your stance on hit lists?
Oh, that's interesting. I've never done a hit list before.
Yeah, neither have I.
It's sorry, I had to burp. I'm not gonna lie.
So real, so true.
I think like obviously it's like if you want to do it, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't think it's interesting that like new people think they have to do it. I don't even think I knew what hit lists were when I joined.
Oh yeah, I
Not
didn't.
to be like back in my day, but
Well,
like that's just really interesting to me. I guess I can see in some ways. It compiles a list of people.
Yeah.
That they could be present in the chat as you post it, and you get like the people that are present in the chat as you post it. And I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has like a lot of benefits. I don't think you have to do it. I feel like personally for me, I just like to like tag search.
Oh yeah,
and see
same.
what's going on.
Okay.
Tag search or go through like
target
rabbit holes
hunting
of like people's attacks.
Target hunting. Also.
Yeah.
I will say this is kind of great because it's nice to have the two sides because I'm very anti-hit list.
Oh, are you actually?
Yeah. So like I think you can like attest to this as well. But like when I joined, people used hit lists for specifically mass attacks.
Oh, that's true.
When they were looking for like a specific type of characters before tag search existed, artfight lore.
Yeah.
So like if you wanted to do like dragon character mass attack, you couldn't just go on tag search and search dragon, and you could look through target hunting, but you know, some people don't post like what types of OCs they have, so it would be hard sometimes to find characters. So you'd make a Google form and be like, oh, submit this, and you know, you wouldn't have to do that work. But I think like having hit lists be like, some people will just go and like fill out hit lists for like hours. Like, and this is a common thing that people are saying they do. And I think that part of the reason I really don't like them is because that just feels like it's against the spirit of art fight for me. Like, if you're doing that, like, it's totally fine. Especially if you're like a newbie, like if you're a first year or something and you're worried you won't get any attacks. You will get attacks. Don't worry about it. But like, the fact that you're like going out, and it feels to me like whenever I've applied to hit lists, it's like asking for an attack. Which I personally don't like.
I can see that. I also don't really like putting myself in spots where I feel like I'm asking people to draw for me or attack me. So I've never applied for hit list, I will say, so I do understand that. I think against the spirit of art fight, I would say is hard because I feel like it would depend on your intent behind it. Yeah. I feel like for people who are just obviously worrying about that they want to get attacked, which is like you said, you will get attacked. Don't worry.
Yeah, you will get attacked. Don't worry.
As long as you're putting stuff out for others, people are going to find you, and people will get you. Yeah. And maybe put a few tags in your characters. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Post, just like be active in the Discord, and somebody will attack you.
Yeah, of course. But I do think that there's a way that like people could use hit lists and applying to them for more so like, I don't want to say malicious because that sounds like really evil. But
yeah, it's not. It's just like, I don't want to say art farming.
I'm not saying those people are malicious. But like, I feel like some people could apply to hit lists.
I will say that like they're not usually like active in the Discord about saying it, but there are people who do like try and art farm on Artfight, like who just want free art of their characters. Like those people exist.
I have seen that before,
and
I will say,
and like people who are trying to like exploit the system. You know, it's not a good thing, but people do that, and I don't like that hit lists make that a lot easier for people.
Yes,
because sometimes it's like
personally where I get worried.
Yeah,
is like, because I think it's like obviously it's like one thing if you put your characters up on Artfight and you make it clear you're probably not going to be able to draw.
Yeah,
and it's for like friends or something, you know. It's for people who know you,
or because
I think
it's an extra character and you just wanted to put it up because it's going to be in somebody's background of a mass attack or whatever. Like,
yes, exactly.
It's totally
Stuff
fine.
Like that. I think it's fine. And I think for me, it's just where it comes from, like, where it's solely fueled by, like, I guess, greed, where it's just like, I don't
Yeah.
want to draw, or some people who are like, I know I've seen some people who are like, I don't think I can draw, and that makes me sad because like, no, you should just try. It's like
Yeah.
art fight is such a great place to
To
just like
experiment.
try. Yeah, experiment. Try to learn how to draw. It's like the best place to, because there's so many characters
And
like so many types.
like the thing
You'll
is,
find a perfect one for you to try and draw if you're in a mood. You're like, I am a new artist. I want to draw a dog. You can find
so many dogs. There's so many dogs on there.
And that one, I've seen that, and that one makes me sad. But when it comes to just like people just like smacking their characters up and then like putting, I don't know if people do this, but I'm thinking that it is real out there somewhere, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Where people would put their characters up, fill out a profile, and apply to a bunch of hit lists, and
just not attack.
No, yeah.
It's like, here, the other thing is like, when I say like, oh, if you're filling out a hit list and you're like, you're not giving anything, like, if you even just like try and like scribble, like trackpad doodle like someone's OC, that is so valid. Like, you instantly become like not the kind of person I'm talking about. Like, if you try and give anything, that's exactly what art fight is about. It's like giving, just being like, hey, I want to like put my time out there. I want to like put my love out there, like for this character that I like just sending somebody something nice. It doesn't have to be a revenge. It can just be like some OC that you like randomly stumbled across. I mean, hell, somebody uploaded an OC that was just a line one year. And like, if you drew that OC, like I wouldn't even care, you know? Like,
exactly. You tried.
Like, there are OCs that are just circles, like, or blobs, like, you know, even if you're drawing those guys, then, like, you're still, like, giving back to the community, and I think that's what art fight is about.
Yeah, exactly. It's, like, we're coming back to it. It's about giving.
Yeah.
Just being nice to other people in the community, having a good time,
and I think,
most important.
I think that's, like, what I want to bring the most to, like, my fight experience this year.
Having a good time? Or giving?
Giving and having a good time. Both.
Both are, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know why I, like, said or, like, as if you can only give, but you can't have a good time.
Yeah.
Santa's working overtime.
Santa's working overtime, baby. But, like, this year, well, I mean, I guess this is, like, also kind of a nice thing to talk about. I want to talk about it before we end, although we still have some time left.
Oh, gosh, we've been talking for that long.
Yeah, I know, it goes quickly. I love talking about art fight. One of the things I really want to try and do to, like, especially, like, connect with people more and, like, characters more is to, like, I'm very much focusing on, like, conceptual pieces and, like, imagery and, like, symbolism and, like, stuff that's really, like, really meaningful. Like, that's the kind of attacks that I want to make this year.
Oh, yeah. That's so cool. I'll be really excited to see that.
Yeah, hopefully they turn out well. I have a bunch of ideas already.
I'm sure they will.
For, like,
I'm sure they will.
Cool things.
Ooh.
And also more scenes. I want to do more scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And less color. Fuck color, actually.
I know you've been on a fuck color arc lately.
I've been on a fuck color arc. I love lines. Lines are just so fun to do.
Your lines are really good.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. Teehee.
Of course.
Your paintings are so incredible. I want to try and do a couple paintings this year, though.
Oh my god, I would love to see your painting.
You're gonna have to give me some tips.
I can try. I'm no expert.
You're so good, Clem. Shush.
Oh, you're so kind. I'm so kind. I know this year I want to, well, okay. First, I want to finish my character references.
Oh my god, same.
I started one finally, and it's taken me 4 days because I've just been kind of stuck on it. But I need to finish my character references, and I'm saying that because I know it's going to go into the fight. Is the issue for me?
Oh, that's hard.
I know, and it sucks, but I gotta do what you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do.
You know what?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Use the site's downtime to allow yourself to do your references.
I was gonna say, like, I'm on the first day, I'm probably not gonna, like, get anything done. Or the second, probably.
That's so fair.
So.
That's so fair.
Yeah. But aside from that, that's more like a personal goal. I really want to try, because I always fall into this like every year
Mhm.
where even though I say I'm not doing it, I'm
Oh.
almost always doing it, where I'm like pushing myself to make a lot of attacks,
Ah,
or
yes.
I'm not like I'm rushing myself. And so
Mhm.
the things I do, they don't come out the way I like, and
Mhm.
it makes me kind of bummed because I can look back at them. Like my attacks from the beginning of the fight, I like the quality of them a lot more than my attacks like near the later end of
Oh,
the fight.
so true. Mine
Yeah.
are so bad.
I think I really started off
Except for a
really
couple.
well, and I was having good quality, and it just kind of like dropped.
Yeah.
And this year, that's like my thing is I don't care. I don't want to care how many attacks I make. I just want to make sure that I am really happy with the ones I do make.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Oh, you're so. I also do want to do scenes.
Yeah, I want
I've
to.
been on a scene kick lately.
I want to try some scenes, but
I would love to see them. They'll look beautiful.
I think so. It's interesting because a lot of the pieces that I liked the most that I did last year were ones that I had like planned the idea for beforehand and didn't rush myself on the idea for.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Like, so thinking like, oh, like what would be interesting with this character, or like, you know, what would be cool if I did like with this composition. And so in my like the most important part of my prep, like even before references, because like I could have just like dug up some pictures of characters like and colored them.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to like have a solid bookmarks list of like 20 or so. Like I ended up having a couple more, but like just, it doesn't matter if they're like silly or if they're like serious, but just like really solid ideas that I am not rushing myself to like try and come up with. So I gave myself like a couple weeks to be like, oh, like what would be good for this character, like what, you know, what would I want to do for this one. So
Oh, that's smart.
yeah.
I have like 3 people on my radar that I know I need to draw for this year. And I really like, and I want to, like, I'm like, really excited to.
Yeah.
And I've already been like trying to think of ideas for their characters. So I guess in like a subconscious way, I've been doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't do it. I should definitely do it for like more than just the 3 people.
I want to think about something for Disc and White. Or maybe Ivy and White, but I rewrote both their, these are just ROCs. This is off topic.
Yeah.
But like, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it kind of also, I don't know, what the stuff that people were saying to do for prep is like kind of, it's hard because like,
Are people giving like a thing to do?
well, like just like basic advice, but I mean, you want to talk about like the like what you prep for art fight and like what you think is the most important?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because my prep has been like very little.
Oh yeah, mine.
But
Yeah.
I know what I need to do is the thing. So it still kind of counts. Prep for me, references for characters that I believe to be outdated. I'm not gonna sweat too much about if their reference is just old art, but I think that it still works for how they look.
Oh yeah.
But I've had a few characters that I've changed the look of. Saying their names isn't like totally relevant, but like I have one character whose outfits I could not stand. I didn't like them when I first made them, and I just had to redo them. So that was one that I like made sure to immediately do. There's another character whose like entire like hairstyle I've changed. So like obviously I need to make a new reference with that, and a few like other things like I want to tweak her outfit too. That's those are like all your changes that need a new reference. Like stuff like that. And I'm not gonna sweat if it's like a character whose art is fine. Like it's old, and I maybe like I redo it if I had more time, but like the design is still fine, you know?
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, I need to fill out profiles. I specifically want to do them in an easy to digest way, and then a few paragraphs if people really want to read them. More like a bullet list of info, like name. I really want to include symbolism, like easy keywords and things to keywords, things to include. I know I did an OC like symbolism meme.
That was
thing
so
for Rogue Man
helpful.
as an archetype prep.
I drew that. I drew one of your OCs, like, and you had that filled out for them, and it was so good. Like, it turned out so nicely.
I love that piece. I really need to. I'm gonna do that definitely for this art fight because I love it when people do symbolism stuff.
Yes.
But I just like forget that symbolism, my character symbolism is all in my head. I
Yeah.
need to put it out into
So
the world.
real.
So, but that's like definitely I would really recommend that for people who have like OC stories because I think putting the story of the character on their page, that's cool. You know, I think you should do that too if you really want to. But I also think just having like an easy to digest bullet list at the top of their bio, just because art fight profiles are just in general kind of hard for me to digest.
Oh, so real.
I feel like hard for a lot of people to digest just because of how they're laid out. And I feel like just having a really like a starting bullet list, if you have characters like with lore and stuff and you want stuff related to that, put some little keywords of symbolism.
Yes.
Like maybe like an object that represents them. There's like an OC symbolism meme. I know that's pretty popular. If you literally just look up like OC symbolism meme, you'll find it. And filling that out would be really, I feel like, really beneficial if you have characters who you want symbolism stuff for. Just tell us.
Tell us, please.
Tell us, please. I am hungry.
I'm so hungry.
So hungry for characters. I'm also a little hungry in general.
Yeah, I'm always a little peckish when I do art fight. Get in that zone.
True. Need to eat. Characters, yummy.
My hot take. Okay, this might be crazy. The things that matter the most. A colored reference. It doesn't have to be clean color, but a reference with colors. People won't draw stuff if it's not colored. Gonna be honest.
For sure.
A lot of the time. Unless, I mean, if the character is black and white, then the character's black and white. But like,
yeah, you know. No, I know what you mean.
And also,
like if it's just a sketch or something, people won't know how to draw them.
Also, don't put any. You can put shading on it. Like honestly, shading is fine, but don't put any filters over it. Like I've seen somebody who like, their art is very lovely, and I wish I could just be like, hey, but they had like a purple filter over all of their references, and they were like, don't color pick, it will be purple. And I was like, how am I supposed to just guess? Like I was like, okay, but like that kind of stuff, like it's just gonna make people not want to draw your characters as much, or it's gonna be harder for people who do want to. So that's one. Two,
that makes a lot of sense, especially like if you don't want them to color pick the reference, definitely have a reference that people, if it's like digital art, that people can color pick. If you're doing traditional art, I would recommend making a digital color palette beside it.
Oh yeah, you can do hex colors if you want.
Yeah, I think hex colors, I've seen that, and I feel like it's really helpful.
Yeah, super
It
useful.
doesn't usually make me stray away from characters with
no
traditional
I honestly
references.
also,
if there's still a color to it, then I'll understand.
Yeah, I think my other thing is like, I definitely, especially when I see some designs that are people who like do less design work or who don't have a style like mine, I will change some of the colors like slightly. Like the color will stay preserved, but the contrast sometimes I will change because I just want to make it look like more together as a piece.
Understand.
I think the second thing, if you have a reference, also your reference just has to be like a full body of the character that's colored.
Oh yeah.
It can't be a half body, because that will also not make people want to draw it. I'm sorry. Or like if it's a half body, like describe like what their legs and like their pants and their shoes look like. Like that would also be like okay.
That would also be fine.
But
I can see that.
Like you can't. Guessing is will make people not want to do the work.
Know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second biggest thing that I don't think people put enough emphasis on is description. So I'm really glad you mentioned it. It's like, if I had the perfect thing ever, a description with like 3 sentences about the character, like who they are, like what species they are, what's their age, like what's their general deal, like in the story, like what role do they play, or like what's their personality. And then a link to like an off-site site, like Toy House or something, with like all of their lore, like all of their stuff.
Honestly, that's probably what I'm going to be doing this year.
And that
just because I have all their info in their toy houses.
Like normally, so when I'm thinking about doing like pieces that are more like conceptual,
Mm-hmm.
if you have like what Clem has, like symbols or motifs or like themes that occur in the story, that will make my work so much easier and also be more accurate. So like if you want stuff that's like, oh, I would love it if somebody drew like a scene from my story, like that'll make it easier for people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing, somewhere, it could be in the description. I put mine in my character permissions because I don't really have any character permissions that are specific. A wish list.
Wish list.
Of like
I
specific
forgot to mention wish list.
specific prompts. Like I think that people are maybe a little bit like afraid of like the idea of like a wish list, like calling it that, and also I kind of get that, but like just a bunch of really specific prompts that like super exemplify like things about your character. Because like if I see somebody, and also things that would make you really really happy to get an attack of, because like if somebody like puts out like, hey, this will make me super super happy to get an attack of this, like of course I'm gonna try and draw that, like because I know it's gonna make you super happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my
great, because then they get happy, and you, if you draw them, you draw the wish list, then you're like, I made them happy, and that's awesome, and that's beautiful, and it's a lovely world.
I think the other thing is for profile for like overall profile, I think the thing that I like seeing the most is definitely page dolls. And like it also gets you to like reach out to people, like make some friends like on Artfight, or maybe you already have friends that you can add. Like I think a lot of people do like different decorations, like blinkies and stuff, but like page dolls to me are like, I always try and put those before like doing other stuff. So
Page dolls are silly.
They're so funny. They don't have to be good.
So
mine are like mine are just little scribbles this year. I haven't updated yet.
I won't have time to do page dolls, of course, but I do need to finish my profile. I literally just remember I edited it from last year, and all I did was add big text at the top, and I was like, I don't guarantee revenges.
I don't guarantee revenges.
I really make sure to clarify it because I never want to get people's hopes up.
I think what I'm gonna do is have one mass attack I do where it's just a bunch of characters whose design I like, but who like don't have a description, or like people who I really wanted to give back to, but just don't have enough for me to do like a full composition for. That's like just all my doodly stuff. Because I mean, the reason I didn't do that last year was because I wanted to make it, and I don't know why they don't do this, mass attacks don't count as like multiple attacks. So like it doesn't count for your ratio, which I do actually care about. You know.
Do you care about your ratio?
I care about my ratio. Like I have mine at 50%.
An interesting thing to learn about you.
It's just like I want to make sure.
Not in a mean way. That sounds really mean. I just
it's
realized.
like I don't always revenge stuff, but I want to make sure that I'm like giving back like
that makes sense,
enough.
actually.
I guess it's like a good indicator.
Okay, I understand that.
Like I don't care about it.
My ratio to make sure that I've like been giving back enough.
I don't care about it like, oh, I need to have it be 60%, or like I need to have it be like above 50. It's like, no, I just want to like make sure that. So it doesn't help when it's like a mass attack. If I drew like 17 characters and like 17 people attacked me that I couldn't get back to, it would just count as one, and like that's kind of sad.
Dang, that does suck. I wish there was a way to see like
character
amount of people.
Yeah,
like character count, like how many characters you've drawn, and how many characters people have drawn for you. That'd be cool.
I think somebody suggested that before suggestions closed, but I don't remember if they actually implemented that. I could be wrong though. Ratio could be characters to characters, and if it is, then I don't mind.
If it is character to characters, that'd be beautiful.
I think it's attacks though. So
I'm pretty sure it is attacks.
But then again, like that would make my everybody wants to be my enemy make my ratio much higher because of how many times I drew Spot.
I love that. I love that so much.
It was so fun. I'd love to do one this year again.
I don't know if I'll be able to. I wasn't even able to do it last year.
Well, it's because you were like gonna make it like a really beautiful thing, and I was like, damn, I just like opened up MS Paint and like scribbled.
I hyped myself up too much.
Just like do some scribbles. It'd be beautiful. Riches was so funny.
I'll do scribbles of like a little map.
Yeah.
I just realized we totally trailed off into just like casual conversations.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that doesn't really make any sense. I feel like I need to clarify that we set up a map.
Yeah, multi-animator
Um,
project.
Multi-animator project, and it was intentionally bad quality,
Yes.
but it was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and I was gonna participate, and I was like, I hyped myself up way too much, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, it's okay. I think I'll probably do one this year. But yeah, I mean, okay, last thing.
Mm-hmm.
How are we feeling about points this year?
How dare you?
We had to talk about it. We had to talk about it before the new rules come out. What do you think?
How absolutely dare you? You come to my house, you bring up points.
I do.
In the comfort of my home.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir? I do bite my thumb.
If anyone listening to this is like new just to Artfight, just to us, I am an avid point hater. I'm an avid point ignorer.
That's not true. That's not true, and you know it. You care. True. You care.
I care, but I don't want to care. And this year, I'm going to try and ignore them really hard.
Really? I need the extension to hide them.
Yeah. It's points to me. I understand. Okay, it's Artfight. You need to categorize it by something. I understand. This isn't me being like, why do points exist at all? I hate that points exist at all. That's not what I'm saying, but I am going to say that it's really disheartening.
So real.
To spend a lot of hours on something and then like not get as many points as you think you should have.
Oh yeah.
Because there were pieces that I made last year where I would have a fully rendered scene with a single character, fully shaded. Yeah. I do paintings.
Yeah, Clem renders beautifully.
I'll get into it, and polished, and they do not hit 100 points with like the max.
It's like 96.
Basically, like the max settings you can have on a single character attack.
Yeah.
You do not hit 100 points, and that is always like very disheartening to me.
We should clarify. You used to hit 100 points.
I did used to hit 100.
Like points. It used to be 126 or something.
Yes. They changed the points
they
went
nerfed
down
it.
For the point count, which is interesting to me.
Well, but they nerfed painting specifically.
That is true. They did, in fact.
Because
I don't know if people know this as like avid, because I feel like when I tell people this,
they are like, what?
I like tell people this, people are like, what?
Yeah. So as a new person, do pay attention to this.
If you are new, please do know that paintings count just as much as like any like just flat color. Not flat. Is it flat?
It is flat. Yes, because it's about the texture.
Flat, fully shaded. I forgot that how the color settings work. But if it's fully shaded, the color settings, like, it does not matter what the color setting.
Yeah.
Even if like the shading won't affect it.
As long as it's
take
clean.
That into consideration.
As long as it's clean. So if you have rough color,
it's clean.
It'll be less. Mm-hmm. But if you have either full color or painted, like rendered or textured, etc., then it doesn't count for any more points.
Yes, which I don't support. I'm gonna be real.
I think
I do not support that decision.
Okay, I was thinking about it. So I think they shouldn't have changed it. They should have changed the wording of what counted as the full points, because we were. I think one of the reasons that like this was or one of the things that came up over this was people who did traditional art who like painted with acrylic or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like, does that count as painting or does that count as flat? And I don't actually remember what. I could probably go into help and like figure out like what the answer to that was. But like the idea that painting, quote unquote, like the idea was, I think that you had to have visible brush strokes, right? That was kind of what determined it. But like some people would use like a textured style that was like, it wasn't any harder than rendering. Like it wasn't any harder than flats, but it looked rendered.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that they should have changed the wording for it to be like rendered versus flat. Because rendering implies that you're spending extra time after flat to post-process your colors to do whatever, whether it's shading or texture or whatever. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like that would make more sense than just having them
be the same
amount of points.
It's like, oh well, you know, it's like, oh well, a sketch, you can just clean up your sketch, and if it's your line art, then like, oh, that's the same thing, so like sketch and line art should be the same thing. It's like, no, that's an extra step that they just like added.
I'm gonna say,
like,
you still have to clean it up.
Yeah, well, because like,
yeah,
the other thing they were saying is like, oh, people who do paintings easily like will have an easier time getting more points. But then it's also like, I don't sketch before I line. I like block out stuff and I go straight to lines. Does that mean I shouldn't get points for lining? No.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's also interesting, just because I feel like if the argument of like people who paint will have an easier time getting more points, which is true, but also you're not like, I feel like that doesn't take into consideration like
time.
It takes more more time
Yeah.
to paint. And that's like why I don't like that the color, like paint or not paint, doesn't matter, because it's like it doesn't acknowledge that there's more time being put in one of them. Not saying that it doesn't take time for like flat colors. I understand that like fully shaded flat colors, that can still be a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there should be a difference. I think that rendering is how they should call it. I just feel like they should switch that up and make like rendering be a thing.
I think the other thing that like makes it feel scummy, like, because you know it's a mod rule, I'm not gonna like be pissed about it. I can talk about it on this podcast because I think people should know, because the reason why it's kind of fucked is like, let's say you only ever do paintings and you never look at the points for flat colors. Because they're separate options, you'd never know you were getting less points.
Actually.
Like, they don't...
I didn't know.
They don't, like, clarify it anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know why it's even a thing, to be honest.
Like, just say like, clean color. And don't even have a category for painting at that point.
Yeah. I don't understand why they're separate at this point. Just because they're the same amount of points. And I feel like... I think I've said this before. If they were... if they were just in the same category, I'd forgive it more, just because it's more transparent of how many like points it is than just like not saying it at all and making them be separate, which kind of implies that one has a different point count.
I think there are definitely some things like that are kind of like artifacts of like Artfight's old like ability to categorize things more specifically. Like, for example, multi-tone shading. Like, on this level of people, like the scale of people, you couldn't have multi-tone shading be a point thing. Like, way too many people would ask about it, you know. But like with something like rendering,
multi-tone shading.
I know. It's so funny if you look at my pieces from from, I think it would have been Dream v Nightmare was the last year they still had multi-tone shading. Every single one of my pieces has 2 colors of shadow and 1 highlight to get multi-tone shading. And
it's really funny.
It's funny because like, well, I mean, the other hard part is like, there are always going to be people who like try to point farm by like skirting around the rules. Like, that's kind of like, oh, you know, I just put 2 extra colors and like I'm not like painting like a full gradient or anything. But like even then, it still took me extra time to do that. Like, my pieces would have been finished faster. I could have potentially done more pieces if I hadn't done that. So like, I feel like it's still a valid, you know, categorization.
No, yeah, for sure. Sorry, I went quiet because I was in fact going to your page to see your old attacks.
To see my old
attacks. That you did in fact do that, and that they are
like that. It's really funny. But like, I mean, to be honest, the thing that was kind of great about that was like, it made me think about that. It made me think more about like core shadow, right? Like, where would the shadow be the darkest? And that helps me train like, or like, oh, I have to add another tone of shading. Do I want to do like a blending tone like in between so it's not cell shading anymore? Like, it's kind of useful to like actually help you improve like as an artist.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the points in Artfight can really push you to do like new things.
Yeah.
Just to see, just to check them out, just because you're like, oh, that's like worth a lot. Just because like I don't know, part of me is like I don't really care about points, but I also do acknowledge that they're like a little training treat.
Yes, yes.
I hate them now because of how much they've hurt me. But
it's real.
but they used to cradle me in their loving arms, and I would get excited to do new things. I still do get excited. I'm wording that like I don't at all, and I'm just a big hater who doesn't love doing anything. But I obviously still do push myself in certain ways, like I want to do more interaction, to be honest.
Oh, yes.
Next year.
I love
and
interaction.
Scenes and stuff. And it's like I wouldn't do interaction or scenes and stuff if I like didn't feel like I was gonna, get anything cool from it.
So
I guess.
true.
Cool.
So true.
Yeah, you will understand my words, despite what I am actually saying.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I love doing animation. I love doing VTuber rigs. I did
Yeah.
Like, especially with rigs and like other stuff like modeling or other things like crafts that like I would want to do that would take a very long time to do. It's like I did a really shitty VTuber model, and I did it as friendly fire, and I got like 27 points. So that's like roughly like 130 or something, because it's 20%, so you multiply it by 5. It's like,
Ooh.
if I had done that and I had spent the amount of time that I normally spent on a VTuber model to like really make somebody happy, I would have gotten like nothing for it. Like, but I can just like shit out a silly rig, and it still like totally counts for like everything, which is wild.
It's a funny thing to say. But yeah. The animation, I've heard that the animation categorization is interesting.
Dude,
I've never like
oh my god.
I don't interact with it just because
I'm face palming right now.
But...
I am probably the number one like hater of the animation categorization.
Oh.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why it's just frustrating is the mods give you different answers. And
that is true. I've seen that a lot.
Another one of the reasons is so like so when we were doing this map, right, part of it was we drew, like I drew a ton of different backgrounds for it. And maybe I'll link it in the description so people can see it if they want. I think we've showed it on a podcast, and then I got copyright claimed for showing the Imagine Dragons song. But like I drew a ton of different backgrounds. Does Artfight let you score the fact that I drew like 12 different backgrounds? Nope. Doesn't have any background in it. Yeah. The other thing is like I drew the character like in that animation like probably like 40 times like overall, and like a bunch of other characters as well. The way you're supposed to score it is like every time there's a new quote unquote scene, you're supposed to add the character once. And I was like, okay, what's a scene? And they're like, when the background changes. And I'm like, okay, so does that mean like when the background changes or like when the environment changes? And then like no one had an answer. I was like, dude. And I asked different mods and they would give me different answers, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna put this character in how many times I drew them, and if you want to see each individual frame to the fact that like I drew them and you want me to submit them as individual attacks, I'll just do that. Like,
oh my god, that'd be insane.
I did one attack. I don't remember if I posted it or not, or if I just like screenshotted the score, but I did like an animation and uploaded it as an animation, and then I just uploaded it by putting the character 7 times, like putting each frame just on one giant canvas like 8 times or whatever, and I scored them, and it only got like a third of the points.
Oh my god.
I was like, dude, I drew this character like 8 times and you're only giving me it like just a modifier. And I was like, dude. So if you care about points, I think the reason I care about points is because I just like a good goal. And I don't do points because I want to help my team, because like it doesn't really matter. It's very hard to, just so you know, if you're a newbie, like don't worry about the team points because it's very, very, very hard to change them. Like, unless you get really lucky and they're very close and like you do one really big attack, but like that almost never happens. It didn't happen last year.
At the scale art fight is now. Yeah,
it's
will agree with
impossible.
that. It's very difficult. I do always, though, I will say though, I do always laugh when I see in general people being like, guys, the team's behind. Go.
I know, I'm like, guys, the amount that the points get changed after the fight too, like, so much stuff gets changed before scores come out.
Yeah, because like attacks get like re-rated.
Yes.
Like math attacks will get like scrutinized, you know.
Yeah.
Not like like, you know, like they'll make sure that the rating's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes points aren't accurate. Sometimes attacks don't comply with the rules and get taken down.
Yeah, it changes so much, and
yeah,
it's just,
it does change a lot.
Like the team spirit thing is fun, but like at the end of the day, like I like points because it's like not even how many points I can get overall, but just like I want to see that number be big when I submit that.
I hate points because they hurt me, but I do want to see it be big.
I want big number.
Please, big number.
I really well. So one of the things that like, and I've talked about it before, but like at some point I will want to develop this like extension that's like an add-on kind of to artfight, so it's a browser extension that does things like let you control like if you want to see points on the site, so you can just like turn them off, or like if you want to change the points to be something different, like different modifiers, like you can do that, as well as like trying to set up little like factions within teams so that you can still experience that like, oh, I can actually change the score by submitting an attack, because it's like it would be like 10 people versus 10 people instead of like, you know, 1 gajillion people all participating.
That'd be so fun. Factions like an art fight sounds so cute.
They sound so cute, and you could like meet new people. I mean, there'd have to be some like safety stuff, so like minors and all that, but
oh, for sure.
There'd be
so silly.
Block and you know, a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't even really be like talking. It would just be like silent acknowledgement of your random teammates.
Exactly.
And you could make some new friends. Anyway, that's like a totally different. I could talk about that for a long time.
I hope it becomes a reality one day. It would be so cute.
It'd be so cute. Maybe
it'd be so darling.
I have to see. Me and my friend are gonna work on it, but there's some stuff we have to do first. All right. Do you have any closing thoughts before? Because the next one we do is probably gonna be in the midst of art fight.
Yeah. My thoughts. Be nice. Attack your friends. Have fun. Have a good time. If you're team vampire, this message is for you. Grr, 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 ow, grr. Bark, 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 bark. Don't threaten me. Also, I'm scared, and I get so nervous when people do that.
That's so funny.
And have a silly day if you're listening to this at the daytime.
Have a silly day. That's a great. My final message. If you're asking a question in Artfight Help, use the search tool in the top right to see if someone has asked it before you have. My second thing, be nice to the mods. There are not enough of them, and there are too many of us. And they are very overworked. And my last thing, I wrote a poem about Team Vampire. It goes like this. Creechin' in the night, biting out of the light. Vamps forever, we stick together. Thank you.
Did you actually write?
I did write that, yeah.
When did you write this?
I just wrote it like a bit ago while you were doing your bark, woof, grr.
Did you make that in like anticipation of ending the podcast?
Yes.
That's such a Team Vampire nerd thing to do.
You're a dog. Woof, bark.
Bark, 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 bark.
I'm a cat boy. I could never be a werewolf.
Oh, that's true.
The woofers and the biters.
The biteys.
All right. Good luck on refs, everybody. Hope you have also started saving people's references, because the site will go down. I'm gonna put a period at the end of that one this year.
For sure. Remember to do that.
And yeah, have a great silly day. Have a silly day.
Have a silly day.
Bye.
Bye.